Verse 50. Ignorance, desire and karma, they are the causes of mind and its belongings. As they evolve thus relatively, they are recognized by me to be paratantric. This is a nice word, isn't it? Paratantric. Professor Suzuki talks about it on page 34 of his introduction. Paratantra means depending upon another. It's the basic understanding that we have, which in modern times is summed up in a scientific way of thinking, in terms of cause and effect, conditions and consequences. So it's its own reality, but it's not the sole reality. It's not the deepest reality. So this is what we need to get a handle on, because it's very difficult, because this reality is so much in our face. It's what everybody else takes to be true. It's what the scientists take to be true. This reality of things which are made up of other things. But we're interested in coming back to our sense of being, a pure sense of being, which isn't desperately trying to feed itself on this paratantric reality. And what we have to deal with then is ignorance, desire and karma. And this is the province of the traditional Buddhist, who's concerned with getting a better future life. But let's not worry about that. Let's look at how this applies to us directly. So ignorance means not operating on the basis of any spiritual insight. Desire is wanting something for our fulfillment, wanting to be made whole, or wanting to be made to feel whole because there's something empty inside. We need to fill that emptiness inside. And karma is what you do to try and fulfill that desire. Karma means action or work. So that's all it means here. Karma means being predisposed to do something to fulfill your desires. The thing is, it's never ending. I think I'll give an example here from my own experience. I've been going through quite an interesting time recently. And it is all prompted by what I'm talking about in these videos. These videos aren't just words that I'm spouting or pontificating. This is stuff that I'm putting into practice. And it's bringing about big changes. I'm not going to go into too much detail here because I just wanted to take one specific example. An obvious one, I suppose, to do with desire. Desire which is bereft of any spiritual insight. I'm a heterosexual male, and I can't help noticing how many attractive women there are walking around. Attractive women of all ages. And it triggers an ache, a longing in me. Which has been there since my adolescence. Now I happen to be married to a very beautiful, sexy lady. So you think, well, that should take care of it, because I couldn't ask any more from a woman in terms of sexiness or prettiness. But this ache is still there. Why is it not satisfied? Perhaps a psychotherapist would say there are issues with my mother. Because this ache, this longing, it's a longing for comfort, for solace. So perhaps the psychotherapist or the psychoanalyst would might think I've got issues with my mother or whatever. And that can go on and on and on. We can speculate forever about that. But I suspect it's nothing more than a habit. It's the habit formed from many years of being a single male. And it's a habit which is difficult not to indulge. It's quite a sweet pain. But it's not one that I can do anything about, or one that I'm inclined to do anything about, especially now that I'm married. I've taken a vow. I'm in a monogamous relationship. So fortunately, I've got another way of dealing with this. I can observe my looking outwards. I'm looking outwards to the Paratantric reality for some kind of satisfaction. And I know if I indulged it, it would just lead to a string of endless affairs. And the ache is not going to go away, the longing is not going to go away. So this is desire and the promptings of karma. So I have to remember my enlightenment practice, not in a boring way, not in some stuffy, paternalistic kind of way, but remembering the reality of my own being, remembering my sense of being, coming back to myself, not back to my ego, which is a rather abject affair, but to this sense of being that knows it's complete in itself. As verse 51 says, when the field of mentation gets confused, they imagine that there is something real to take hold of. In this imagination, there is no perfect knowledge. It is false imagination rising from delusion. So the delusion is that there's something out there which is going to dispel my longing, dispel my ache, my deep emotional ache. But it's a confusion, the belief that there is something out there that is going to satisfy me on this deep level. It's called false imagination, as if imagination was real anyway. So what we take as reality is an imagined reality, and it's false because we take it as our true reality, as a physical reality. So these are the conditions of ignorance, desire and karma. Verse 52 says, when bound in conditions there evolves a mind in all beings. When released from conditions, I say I see no mind rising. So when we're operating from spiritual insight, when we're engaging in our enlightenment practice, there's no reality out there to entice us. We're no longer hypnotized. We awaken to the richness and the fullness of our own sense of being.